Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 15th of August, and here you have it, the new display setup coming to you in HD quality, 1080, at least at this particular stage. I don't know how much clearer we need to get than that, but it certainly expands everything, makes it much easier to see. But we'll go in kind of a reverse order for this one, just to give you an idea. The general setup of things, and you can see from that 5K, we're looking at the full day now. You put it all on the one screen and still have pretty nice clarity as far as the movement goes. But we started up at the peaks, and there were very tiny moves to the low side. And you can see every time we dipped, like in this mid-range here, you always had the magenta still riding cleanly above MBI yellow, and so that maintains its bullish. And literally from that crossover of the blue, even though you still had like a bar or so down, it was became pretty evident at that particular stage things were going to turn around, and you had the orange dip to that 7.5, and that was sure enough the one that actually drove things up to the upside of the move. And then it repeated itself, but again supporting right around that 50% range. It gets a little tougher when you're right at this space. You can wait for that meeting, like here on the DOC of the green for cyan, or in this particular case, when magenta cleared the MBI white, and you're also having blue coming above. That's why the paint bar turned green at that particular stage, and then it never went below 76%. It indicates with these dark magentas where tiny weaknesses exposed, but overall, even within that modest decline setup, the turnaround was pretty quick on it and led to full run. From a 50K standpoint, also, it was pretty straightforward from the whole day. I mean, this was the pre-market at the very end of this chart here. Buy signal and back and forth a little bit, but clean. And we were way up there. And we had the strong MBI white lead, but it just completely collapsed. I mean, you're at 0.24 on 50K. That is incredible from a bullish standpoint. And then popping up here to look at Bitcoin, again holding well above that 20,000 level, actually even where we dipped down even slightly below that before from a daily standpoint, but really found its center, so to speak, and filled in the retrace setups from positive extremes. We had down at that 23, which 23,400 range, still a reasonable spot. If you look at it from a daily configuration, not a whole lot happening from that from a daily standpoint. The previous peak there in April, all the way down where it is. So not much action has taken place in the last month from a crypto space standpoint there. TLT, we've talked about this when we were at the peak. It was ridiculous because it kept saying it has to decline because rates are going to rise. And sure enough, this is exactly what you get, where it just completely broke down. Rates rising because the Fed is not going to stop raising their rates. But the market seems to believe that they're going to go to quantitative easing. And, if you believe the administration and what they're saying, then there's absolutely no justification for that. So reconciling the two, a little more complex than the market is prepared to address at this particular stage. Oil still above 90. Hit that 23% 94 range. Again, this can change very quickly with the status of things. Obviously, the EU has eased a lot of their sanctions. There's purchasing of oil much more prevalent now than there was before. The question only becomes, how long will that last, and will it be sustainable? And will that drive price below the 90 level? Because any spike back up, and that zero inflation they were touting for July, it's gone completely, evaporates instantly. And from a gold standpoint, we expect the climb to continue. From that standpoint, we had that magenta leading early on with the crossovers while we were declining, but then when it flattened out, we had the dip of orange below red DOC right there, and then it was just a matter of waiting for it to be above 23%, and that was a clean move all the way up to the 50. So pretty clean. Euro, again, back and forth with the same issues that the entire European area is happening, and so that's not going to change anytime soon. And that just it's for that fluctuation back and forth. But I mean, it's just a catastrophic drop when you look back here in February of last year to where we are. It's major hit on the wealth, so to speak, of Europeans versus, any of them that want to travel. Obviously, if you're in the same country, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Like, people really don't care about the dollar until they're trying to buy something from a foreign country, and then it makes a difference. And this is why Europe is inundated with American travelers, because it's never been this cheap to come to Europe since, well, the early 90s. And NQ, from its daily standpoint, you can see we're well above 33 on the MBI magenta, and it's staying above yellow as well. And at 4.5 for the white. It's going to take a little bit more for that to move up to be any threat. And you'd have to see the magenta uh, turn around to the downside of that as well. And that's not happening. You can see the shakeout is in the blowout range. We're plus 20. So that's very close to the purple line there, which is the plus 25, and that's when we're getting into the super extremes where we're in like a runaway move. But you can see from an entire year standpoint, going all the way back to the beginning, that's where we opened, all the way over there to where it is now. So hope you've enjoyed the new configuration, and we'll look forward to some of the additional changes that plan on taking place. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk to you later.